Hi, Kenny. Thanks very much for chatting with me today.
Hi, Yinka.
Yeah, so we first got in contact when you approached me about mock interview practice. So you wanted to kind of
Yeah.
get some support with your interview skills, and now you've successfully secured a job with sponsorship in the UK, which is great. So your story's quite an interesting one with the challenges that you had and the things that we've discussed. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, it'd be great to, it's great that you're sharing your story with others in my network. So yeah, if you just want to introduce yourself, where you're from, what brought you to the UK, what industry you're working in.
Okay. So, hi everyone. My name is Kendi Lawal. You can call me Kenny. I'm a Nigerian. I came into the UK in September 2020 to further my education in management and marketing. So, I was a marketing professional back home. So the intention was to move to the UK, develop my career, have my master's, and then go from there. Um, it was all good and fun until when I started applying for jobs towards the end of my master's, hoping to get one with sponsorship. So that was how I met Bianca, and it's been very helpful. And I hope some of the things I shared today would be helpful for you guys too.
Yeah, thanks very much. So first question I have is, when you first moved to the UK,
Yeah.
did you experience any type of culture shock? And if yes, can you give an example?
Yes, I did. Um, the most intriguing one for me was the fact that I had to address my lecturers, my seniors by their names. So from the culture where I'm from, we take respect, like being very respectful to elderly people. So even my lecturers back in school or seniors at work, I used to refer them to Sarah or Mister or using their initials. But when I have to go to my lecturer and say, hey, Daniel, I'm like, okay. So
Very
it took a
strange.
bit,
Yeah.
yeah, it took a bit of a time for me to really get to adjust to that. So I had to keep calling them by names and just saying, hey, hello, something like that. So that was the main thing I experienced with the professional and the academic aspect of things. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's something that you did change when you realized the
Yeah.
difference there. And you,
Yeah, I'm used
yeah,
to that now.
yeah, and I think that's really important and really valuable for you that you did change that, and you identified the cross-cultural difference there, and then
Exactly.
because then it shows that you understand the UK culture a bit more, and yeah, the greetings
Yeah.
and so on. So yeah, that's really interesting. So also, what are the main challenges that you came across with your job search? So you said that when you came to looking for jobs as a graduate, that's when you kind of
Yeah.
like struggled a bit. So what were the main challenges that you faced?
I would say at first, when you don't know where to go searching for, you get a bit frustrated. And when you do know where to check, you have like a lot of things at your disposal. You just keep applying to anything at any time that comes your way. And in a way, starting that way gave me some sort of pressure on myself that I was applying for so much. And the fact that I was getting rejections from them made me feel a bit uncomfortable and less confident in myself at some point. Yeah. But I guess that was just the wrong approach. So at some point I realized that it was not about applying to so many jobs, but it was about applying to the specific one that actually suits your criteria, that
Mhm.
suits your experiences and everything. So I guess it takes more of the patience to be able to take the time for each and every application that you want to apply for. So not just submitting a generic CV and cover letter for every application. So it was at the point when I started tailoring my experiences towards the needs of every job application I found, that I started getting like some results from my submission. So basically is the challenge is about knowing what to do when and how in
Yeah.
the system. Yeah,
Yeah, and it sounds like, yeah, quality over quantity is the approach
exactly.
that you used, like you changed it slightly. And
Yeah.
were you looking on like one job website or a lot of job websites? Like what was your strategy with that?
Okay, I started with the likes of Indeed and some other ones. There were quite a lot. And then, but I think I didn't get so much feedback from that. So I decided to use LinkedIn. And eventually I got my offer from one of the jobs I applied to on LinkedIn. So I find LinkedIn, the job board, very user-friendly and easy to follow up with, compared to having to keep tab on different job websites. Though they have their own good ones, so you're able to see and read a lot and have ideas about some of them. Then I figured out that some of them were also on LinkedIn as well. Like
Yeah.
the same one you find on LinkedIn, you find them on some of
Yeah.
the job website. But every one of it is useful. I tried using what's it called? What are they called? The people you reach out to and then they call you, oh, we have a job.
Recruiters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
recruiters at some point. There are different ones, different agencies.
Yeah.
I try to use some that are within my area. I try to use some that was recruiting specifically for marketers. So sometimes if you're not doing the general one, you might want to look at some of the recruiters that focus on your career path or your profession
Yeah.
specifically. So that might work as well, as you get some offers that are really relevant to your experience and not just broad ones. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got so were you only looking at jobs as well that they were saying they offer sponsorship or they have the sponsor license, or were you applying to just roles that were suitable with all types of companies?
So I was quite strategic about that. So I had I would say the notion that I didn't check, but there was this I would say the impression that, okay, once this organization is this big, then they
Mhm.
should be able to offer sponsorship. So I was kind of going after the big ones. And the organization size also was like a guide for me. So when I see information about the organization that it says like 500 plus or 1,000 plus on LinkedIn, I feel like, okay, at some point, this guy should be able to do, you understand what I mean? But
Yeah.
when I see roles for organizations like 50 to 100, 1 to 50, 0 to 50, and things like that, I have a feeling that, okay, this is a small organization. So for me, I wasn't looking out on job vacancies or adverts to say, oh, we offer sponsorship. No, because I realized at some point that it's actually, for me right now, it's not about sponsorship or career development, as I have postgraduate work visa to
Yeah.
also use. So it's about gaining the experience and learning more. The sponsorship is at the back of it, but developing and building my experience. Even if I didn't get one that could offer me sponsorship, I believe that the next couple of months or year, 1 year, I'm able to work and then get the experience that will get me something
Yeah.
very valuable. But I didn't have any guide to say, oh, this job is offering sponsorship. It was
Yeah.
just like a discretion kind of thing that I used. Yeah.
Yeah, because you
I
kind of
was,
had the two options. Because yeah, obviously you had the
yeah,
work visa, but it's really good that you focused on the nature of the role and, like you say, the
exactly.
skills development side and the career progression side, because
Yeah,
it's so easy to get caught up with the sponsorship element, and
exactly.
especially if you want to stay in the UK long term, and you want your visa to contribute to indefinite leave to remain, which the skilled
Mm-hmm.
worker one does. But it's really good
Yeah,
that you stayed focused on that side of things. Definitely, yeah. Well done for that.
thank you.
Okay, so what strategy really helped you get the results with your job search? Would you say, or like, what? Yeah, what did you do or change that really then you saw results with?
Okay. I think I mentioned a couple earlier. One was actually stop applying to anything and everything.
Mhm.
I had to look for things that match my own experience and not really. So if I found one that actually really that matches my experience, I take my time to apply to it, write CV and cover letter that match everything. So that was the time it was at that point that I started getting more
Yeah,
invites for interviews and the like. So as I mentioned to you the first time we talked, I told you that CV was not my problem. Yeah, if you remember,
yeah,
I felt like I had a good CV because they were getting me up to the point of the interview stage and everything. But when it comes to the interview, after like 2 or 3 stages, then the drop-off comes. I'm like, okay, what is the problem? So
Uh-huh.
when I discovered that was the problem, then I had to talk to people. So another thing is networking. Try to talk to a lot of people around you that you think can help. So I remember talking to I attended an event and I talked to someone who was at the event, and the person said, "Oh, do you know this person? Her name is Bianca. You should try to check her on LinkedIn. She might be of help," and something like that. So I'm like, "Oh, okay, sounds good." So another thing is, if you're searching and then you feel like something is not right, it's okay to ask people.
Yeah.
It's okay to ask for guidance from other people who you think they are experienced in the system. So that was one of the reasons I reached out to you, and I told you that I wanted like a mock interview sort of. So
Yeah.
if you're doing your job search right, if you're applying to the right jobs, then you should also know that you need the right skills to maybe
Yeah.
attend interviews and everything. And you might get tips like that from people who had similar experiences in that regard. So yeah, ultimately, I would just say those things were like the most important for me that really helped me get results from my search. I
Yeah.
talk to people a lot, yeah,
Yeah.
about,
Yeah, and people you find are very responsive and they do want to help
yeah,
and are willing to have conversations.
exactly.
And it's really, you learn a lot from anecdotes
And
and other
then,
people's, shared experiences as well. And it's good that
yeah.
you identified, what your issue was, and then
Mhm.
you approached people with that in mind, saying, right, this is the problem. And yeah, and all that comes before the sponsorship, the CVs,
Yeah,
applications, the cover letters, the interviews
exactly.
and everything. Yeah. So yeah, well done for that. You did a good job.
Thank you.
Um, and wait, so being an international student in the UK, so from your experience, like what unique challenges do you think international students face with their graduate job search if they want to stay in the UK?
One thing I've noticed since I came here, I think is a kind of experience or portfolio that they go after to build as a student.
Mhm.
So I understand the challenges that most international students face in terms of maybe paying their bills or I would say paying tuition and everything. We all have to do some kind of jobs like just to get money in, work at a restaurant, work at a cafe, do some things and things like that. Yeah. But I realized that most of these things don't really count to your professional experience if you want to become a career person, like develop your career in the UK.
Yeah.
So more than going after, I'm not saying that we don't have to look for the money because at least we have to pay the bills at some point,
Mhm.
but we should also be strategic in thinking about some of the key things that can actually add to your professional development or your portfolio back, maybe in addition to what you had from home. So I had an experience of like over 3 years as a marketer in Nigeria before traveling to the UK.
Yeah.
And immediately I got into the UK, I tried as much as possible to look for opportunities in part-time roles and freelance roles as a marketer.
Yeah.
So while I was a student, I also had part-time jobs that I was doing in a UK organized, like in the UK, like working as a digital marketer somewhere. I had 2 experiences for some of such organizations while I was doing my master's. And that helped me. Immediately I submitted my dissertation. I got a graduate internship also
Yeah.
into another company in a similar role. So you see, if there isn't any gap so much, even on your CV, you have the opportunity to say, okay, over the last couple of months or something, I've been in the UK and I've been able to do this. So it doesn't necessarily have to come with something that has to do with money. So it
Yeah.
might be volunteering for some NGOs based on the skills you've acquired back home, and then just to show that you have something to prove to show you are also in the system. Or
Yeah.
I know it might not be easy for everybody, but I feel it is something that has really helped me a lot in terms of applying to jobs, because I'm confident that, okay, I've worked in about 3 UK organizations. So I'm good enough. I have what it takes to get any kind of full-time employment. So it boosts the confidence. So if you can go after something like that, I'll say it's a good thing to actually do. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's such a I was going to make that point as well about the confidence thing. So
Yeah,
it's just so good for your confidence, and you have that extra advantage and that extra edge. And when
exactly.
you go for interviews, you can give examples of when you've worked in a UK workplace, and
Exactly.
to understand how things might be different to your home country workplaces, and again the cross-cultural
Yeah.
thing, and yeah,
Yeah.
for your confidence, it's so good. And then you've got
Yeah.
those examples to use in
Yeah.
interviews for
And
stuff.
I must also add that there are actually a lot of organizations in the UK that support international students, Blacks even specifically, to get internships while they are on their studies. So I joined Black Professional Scotland. So
Yeah,
it is one of the inclusion driving organization for professionals in the UK. And through the organization, I was able to secure my graduate internship. So you have a lot of member benefits that you get. You get updates about internships. They help with a lot of things. And I know there is BYP, there is 1,000, 10,000 black intern. There are quite a lot of them.
yeah,
So I feel it depends on how you're able to channel your resources or your research to look for to find what you're looking for. So if your goal is, okay, while I'm doing my master's in the UK or being a student in the UK, I want to get at least 1 or 2 part-time engagements that are like in line with my career ambitions and things like that, then you definitely go for things that will help you get them. So they're out there. There are lots of internship positions that you can actually benefit from, and then you get a good pay for it too. Like a
yeah.
very good one.
And it's,
Yes.
yeah, it's like you say, it's doing research as well, just
Yeah,
take that time researching your options. And it doesn't
exactly.
have to be paid experience as well necessarily.
No.
I mean, for internships, I would always kind of encourage
Yeah,
people, yeah, to do paid ones, but
yeah.
any type of experience related to your
It
field,
it helps
yeah,
a lot.
definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so looking back, is there anything that you had wished you'd known when you first started your job search that you know now?
I think what I did, what I did last, I mean, getting to understand the cross-cultural context of interview scenes. Yeah,
Mm.
that was like the last thing I did, which I felt like I should have done better. But I didn't even think about that because I did some interviews for my part-time engagement, like my part-time employment. I didn't think I needed that, but I guess most of my silly mistakes were excused for, okay, we think she knows what she's doing, but she's just new to the system. You get that kind of a thing. And
Yeah,
then for those part-time engagements that I had, they were mostly assessment based, kind of. So it wasn't like a one-on-one. I was just given a task to complete. I was asked to do something and then I submitted, and that was proof enough to show that okay, she knows what she's doing. But
yeah,
when it came to the real one, where I had to go through like 3, 4 stages of interviews, and I'm like, okay, but I know what I'm saying. I said these things right, and then this is still not coming through. So I knew there was something wrong. So um, before launching any job search activity or plan or anything, and you're in a new country, I think it's best to know the right tips about what to do in different kind of situations. So there were a lot of expressions I learned from the video that you shared me. You shared with me a particular link to one of your YouTube videos about how you can prepare for your interviews or what you shouldn't do during an interview in the UK or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah, I figured that I was doing some things like consistently, repeatedly. And I'm like, oh my God, I've been doing all this. I've been doing all this. Yeah, if there is something you should know about, I mean, change of context, like change of environment,
Mm,
you should do that first before going
yeah,
into the job market, say CV, say cover letter writing, how to ask questions, how to address people, how
yeah,
to follow up on emails, so those little things really matter in
yeah,
terms of your impression on your interviewer. So I remember one that I did after our mock interview. I I figured out that it was not the usual expression I was used to. Get serious, don't smile, be serious, don't be so playful. Like first 10 minutes into the interview, we're just talking normally,
yeah,
like generally about stuff.
yeah,
It was so relaxed before when I was like, oh, okay, let's go back to what we're here for. It was very, very, very nice. You understand what I mean? So
yeah,
from my own context, I'm used to, okay, you have an interview tomorrow, read till morning. go dressed in a very corporate look, sit down, don't move your head, don't look here, look straight into the person's eyes, and you get that kind of thing. So
Yeah,
yeah,
very different. Yeah. So
yes,
what for you, like what's different, like what's unique about the UK interview compared to in Nigeria, the interviews that you had?
I would say I don't I can't really say it. There are quite a lot of different things that I noticed, but I would say what really got to me most was how transparent most of these interviewers were with me.
Hmm.
So even though some of them did not end up like, okay, you got the job, yeah.
Yeah.
But it got to some point where I had an interviewer telling me, oh, okay, I think I like this thing that you said, but in case you're interviewing for another job, you could
Yeah.
do it this way, something like that. So that's someone picking interest in you as a person,
Yeah.
and not that, okay, you're coming for this job, oh, you don't know what you're saying, you're shitty. No,
Mm.
everybody still keeps up the good look, even if it doesn't seem good to them,
Yeah.
like one is smiling. Yeah, I get the false hope it gives to people. You think in an interview you've aced it and everything, but I was actually in one that the she told me that, okay, this is it, this is it, this is it, if you're not getting it. And there was one that I attended and the person told me straight up, I like you and I want you to go ahead with this. Do you understand? I like that
Yeah.
kind of thing. I'm from a context where you do some interviews and then you don't hear back to say, oh, we are taking you or we are not taking you. So
Yeah.
I like the communication aspect of things. You get followed up, even if you don't get to any response, you're free to follow up to say, hey, I sent an application on this day. I
Yeah.
didn't get any feedback and everything. It's very free here. So you're able to keep tab on everything you're doing in terms of job application. So you're not lost to say, oh, what am I doing next? Or you have applied to like a couple of jobs and you don't know if it is a yes or no.
Yeah.
So here, technically, you get like in about 5 days, 5 to 10 days, you know what you're doing next. If you're
Yeah.
going to the next stage, you know in about 2 days. And I like that pace because you're able to move on from your heartbreaks.
Mhm. Yeah. It's that,
Yeah,
yeah, like you
go
say,
on.
that the kind
Okay.
of, yeah, the personal touch is very appreciated in the
Yeah,
UK, and
yeah,
the small talk that goes, with
yeah,
interviews and before the interview even starts can be so crucial, and
exactly.
like just even talking about the weather or something really menial like that, but
Yeah,
it builds that rapport and you find common ground, or
very comfortable too.
very important in the UK, yeah, to
Yeah.
so when someone asks, oh, how are you, I always say, you ask back like, oh, fine,
Yeah,
how are you? Like, you don't just say I'm fine and then it's a
I'm
conversation
fine.
stopper. You have to always kind of continue the
Keep the
conversation.
conversation going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So not giving closed answers, like one word
exactly.
answers, because that's just gonna,
No,
crush the
yes,
rapport building.
yes, no, okay,
Yeah.
okay, no. Yeah.
Okay, so what was the most valuable piece of advice you were given to help you with your UK job search?
The one I got from um my colleague that referred me to you, that was it for me. It- I told, I remember what I told him. I said, I know I'm good. I know I'm qualified for all these things. I can even do better. Those were the things I told, but I really don't understand what is going on.
Yeah.
So he said, okay, this is not my field, but I can tell there is something not right somewhere. So you better speak with someone that could help you. And then said, check the anchor. So the advice I'll also give to anybody, and
Mm.
it applies to things generally. If you think you really don't understand how to go about some things, it's fine to ask. It's okay to shout and say, hello, I'm finding it difficult to do
Yeah.
this. Can you help me? So sometimes when applying for jobs, especially in the international space, it may not really be something about how good you are. You might be very, very good. I mean, extremely good for it, but you
Yeah.
don't know how well to communicate your skills and experiences, or you communicate them, but you're communicating them in the wrong way.
Yeah.
So you probably just need like a 30-minute talk with someone and then you're on the track if you know what you're doing. You get what I mean? The
Yeah.
only conversation I had with you were some of the exchanges we had on LinkedIn
Yeah.
and then the mock interview. and that was it. And I did several interviews after that. I didn't say, do you understand what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think it's just the one, maybe a very one touch with someone or the
Yeah.
right person or the right people would make you. And then of course, you're also in the picture. So
Mm.
meeting the right person actually helped me a lot. Maybe I would have found that later on, but I would have probably missed out on a number of good opportunities. So the earlier you reach out to someone to help you, the better. And
Yeah.
then once you're good, several other interviews that you do, you get better. So because in every interview you keep learning. Oh, I did this in the last one. I'll repeat that again.
Yeah. And it's that reflection that's so important as well. And yeah, and it's not suffering in silence, and understanding that,
Exactly.
even in universities, you've got the career services there and they're there
Exactly.
to help,
Yeah, sure,
and you've got a lot of organizations and initiatives, and
sure.
where people are helping. And yeah, and it's like, so yeah, just don't suffer in silence, and just,
Mhm.
if you don't ask, you don't get as well. So if you're not going to,
Exactly.
but it's also having the right approach, like you mention about, like, yeah, how to send an email,
Email.
contacting people on LinkedIn. You wouldn't just say hi, or like, oh, I need a job.
Exactly.
It's building a relationship from the very get-go in writing as well.
I need a job.
Like, you've done a lot by yourself, you just needed that extra tiny little,
Exactly.
nudge. So you put in a lot of effort yourself, and that's the best. The clients that are the most successful that I work with are the ones that they put in the effort, and then I put in, the effort as well. Like,
Exactly. Because the person is ready, yeah. It's
yeah,
just something to
it can't
push.
all be me. It's like, at the end of the day, you got the job yourself, you did the
Yeah,
interview, you did it. It's your achievement, not mine. So
used to.
okay, so I have one last question. Yeah,
Okay.
what top tips would you give other international students in the UK? Based on your experience, for their job search, what are your
Okay.
top tips?
I
Three
can
top tips.
three three top tips. I cannot emphasize this enough. One, please try to get like really good experiences, like work experiences related to your career, even if it is voluntary, even if it is paid, but just try to get something. Another is apply to things that you know you're qualified for. Like, just you can't just be throwing your CV everywhere, because I know what it means to get no's and no's and no's. I got a lot of it, and then it was because every application you kind of build your dream around it. Oh, if I got this job, I would be this, I'll be that, I'll be sitting in my office looking like this, looking like that. And then you get a no. So every no comes with its disappointment, and then it affects you in some way. So when you apply for things, you know that, okay, this is what I'm qualified for. You put in your strengths, everything you want to put into it. And then when it comes to, you know that, okay, I deserve this. So, and it saves you time and effort too also. And
Yeah.
then the final one is, don't be discouraged.
Hmm.
Like, don't be
Yeah.
don't be. So even when you think it's all going crazy, talk to people. So that's where it comes in. So I had my time where I had to, like, oh my god, this is not going to work, or this is not going to, this is annoying, this is frustrating, this is that. But
Yeah.
just don't be discouraged. If I stopped, maybe I wouldn't have applied for the one I eventually got. If
Yeah.
I stopped, maybe I wouldn't have come to you to know what the problem was, or to tell you, oh, I need to know how to do it, or
Yeah.
answer my interview questions properly. Not that you don't know what you're doing, yeah? You know what you're doing, but you're not just getting something right. So
Yeah.
something like that. So those three, I think,
Yeah.
because
Great. Very good top tips. Yeah.
thank
And yeah, so all the best with your next, your job. You've done
you.
such a great, you've done so well to, yeah, come over all those hurdles and challenges. And like you say,
Yeah.
you kept going. Don't get discouraged. You need to persevere. Build your
Mhm.
resilience. Understand that it's very, very rare. I've still not never come across anyone who's got the job that, the first one they applied for.
Yeah.
It's a process.
True.
It's a process that you have to go through. And yeah, the
Exactly.
more you go through, the more learning you get, the more reflection you have.
Exactly.
And yeah, and you did it, so well done. And
Thank you, Bianca.
yeah, thanks so much for your time today. And I'm sure people are going to really benefit from hearing your story and your top tips and your experience. And if anyone wants to reach out to you or get in contact with you, how can they do that?
LinkedIn, it's fine.
Okay, so on your LinkedIn
Yeah.
profile. Great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Kenny, and
Yeah. Thank you.
wish you all the best. Take
Yeah.
care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.